Your LinkedIn profile is likely the first impression a potential client has of your expertise, and yet most profiles are structured like resumes, optimized for job applicants, not client relationships. Today, I'm walking you through a 5-layer framework for optimizing your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to show you examples across 3 disciplines: accident reconstruction, digital forensics, and building engineering, so you can see what works and what doesn't. Then we're going to do a complete deep dive into my own profile, and I'm going to show you how all 5 layers work together. Your profile is one of the few marketing assets that's fully under your control. When a potential client searches for expertise, clicks on your name in a comment thread, or receives your connection request, they land on your profile. That's your opportunity to communicate who you serve, what problems you solve, and how they can take the next step. But most profiles are built for job seeking and never updated. Past employers, responsibilities, career progression. But that doesn't serve you when you're building an expert practice. What you need is a profile structured like a landing page: clear positioning, client-focused language, proof of results, and a call to action. The framework I'm sharing covers 5 layers. I'm going to show you the principles with quick examples, and we're going to look at my complete profile that uses all 5 layers together. All right, the 5-layer framework, here they are. Layer 1, it's your photo and banner. This is your visual identity that communicates your positioning. Layer 2, this is your headline, your 220 character positioning statement that appears everywhere. Layer 3, your about section. This is where you articulate your value proposition, starting with the client's problem. Layer 4, that's your experience, your outcomes and proof, not task lists. Layer 5 is recommendations and featured content. This is third-party validation, where the market has validated us at what we do, and we want to demonstrate that to potential clients. When it comes to your headshot, it needs to be obviously you. So it needs to be a high-resolution, professional quality picture of you. I do not recommend having yourself pictured doing other activities that you may like to do that are not work-related. You need that client to be able to envision you doing what they need you to do, being a side character in their story that makes them the hero, right? So you are their expert witness. What will that expert witness look like when they show up to court? What will that expert witness look like when they stand before a boardroom and present? That's what they need to know. That's what they care about. That's the impression we need to give by how we visually represent ourselves. Now, the banner can be where you work. That's totally fine. Or you can have a specialized banner or a mix of both. But what we don't want is the blank or generic no banner that LinkedIn has up there. It looks like you just don't tend your profile, the guy who doesn't cut his grass. Headlines. The first 45 characters are critical because they appear everywhere your name shows up. You know, when you search for something and it gives you a preview, you can see the first beginnings of a sentence, but you can't see everything. It's like that. It shows you what that profile does, but you can't see everything else. You got to click through the link to see it. That's why the first 45 characters really matter. It's kind of like a news headline that allows a prospect to decide if they're going to click to read the story or not. So what would be a weak and a strong example? Let's start with accident reconstruction. A weak example is accident reconstruction is at ABC firm. A strong would be accident reconstruction is specialized in vehicle dynamics and crash analysis in heavy trucking litigation. PE Actar 200 plus cases. The difference is that it's specific. It names the expertise, the application, the credentials, and the scope. All right, how about building sciences or forensic engineering? Structural engineer, PE, that's weak. That could be anyone. Design engineer, it could be a municipal engineer, consultant of some kind. Strong is forensic structural engineer, construction defect and failure analysis for litigation, PE, SE, 15 years testimony. It's immediately clear you do forensic work, it's a litigation focus, you have your credentials and your experience, and you speak to things your clients and prospects actually care about, like testimony. And then digital forensics, weak would be digital forensics expert, cybersecurity professional. It's too generic. That could be corporate IT security, it could be anyone. It doesn't speak to who you serve. Strong, using mine, is I decode the complexities of digital evidence for legal, risk, and insurance professionals, digital forensics expert, author. That's the first 45 of mine. The first 45 characters communicate what I do, then who I serve, then credibility. In the pattern, strong headlines answer what do you do, who do you serve, and what qualifies you. In the about section, most experts make similar mistakes. They start with themselves. I'm a professional engineer with this many years of experience. I graduated from this school. I've written these papers. I've been around and done these things since this year. That's a resume. It's about you, not about the client's problem. It doesn't help them understand why they need you or why they care about you. A strong approach would be Commercial trucking litigation often hinges on technical questions attorneys aren't trained to answer. Was the driver speeding? Could the crash have been avoided? What does the event data recorder data show? I provide accident reconstruction that answers these questions clearly and withstands cross-examination. Over this many years of experience, and I've analyzed this many cases and testified this many times. You see the difference? You start with the attorney's problem, the client, then position yourself as the solution, then provide proof. Here's another example, a strong approach for a construction defect expert in building forensics or building sciences. Construction defect litigation requires forensic engineering that identifies root causes and communicates findings clearly to triers of fact like judges and juries. Building owners and attorneys need experts who can analyze building envelope failures and water intrusion with precision. I spent 18 years providing forensic structural analysis in construction defect cases with testimony in 35+ trials involving multi-million-dollar projects. The pattern, you see it right there. Problem, solution, proof. Never start with your degree, start with their problem. Now let me show you how this works in practice on my profile. All right, if you want to look up Lars Daniel on LinkedIn, you can follow along as we go through, or I'll have it on the screen as well. We're going to go through my profile layer by layer and see what I have done to maximize its impact. Layer 1, photo and banner. My photo is a professional headshot. It's got good lighting, neutral background, direct eye contact. When someone sees me at a conference or in a deposition, they recognize me. My banner says the definitive guide to cell phone evidence for trucking defense. Everything you need from rapid response to the courtroom, and it includes a picture of my book. It does 3 things. It tells trucking defense attorneys this profile is for them. It addresses their specific need, cell phone evidence in trucking accident cases, and it shows them I wrote the book on the topic, that I'm an authority. So if a trucking defense attorney who has a cell phone need looks at 100 digital forensics experts' profiles, who do you think they're going to call? All right, on to my headline. I decode the complexities of digital evidence for legal, risk, and insurance professionals, digital forensics expert, Forbes contributor, author, speaker, educator. The beginning line, I decode the complexities of digital evidence. That communicates what I do, not my job title, what I actually do for clients. Then I specify who I serve, legal, risk, and insurance professionals. Then my credibility markers, Forbes contributor, author, speaker, educator, digital forensics expert. They're not empty titles, they're searchable keywords and proof points. When an attorney searches for digital forensics expert or digital evidence, my profile appears. And when they get to my profile, they're going to immediately understand what I do and who I serve. All right, the About section. I started off real simple. I just say, hi, I'm Lars. But then I immediately go into my value proposition, what I offer clients. I decode the complexities of digital evidence for insurance, risk, and legal professionals. I've built my career on making the technical understandable and actionable for clients navigating their ever-increasing digital complexities. I'll make your problem go away. Notice I'm not starting with credentials, I'm starting with their problem, digital complexities, and my solution, making it understandable. Then context. When courtrooms meet technology, I bridge the gap. This is the core value. I'm the translator between technical forensics and legal strategy. And then the proof. With dozens of expert testimonies across state and federal courts, I've worked both sides of the aisle, helping defense and prosecution in criminal cases and supporting plaintiffs and defendants in civil matters. Specific scope, real experience, neutral positioning. Then I mentioned the books that I've written, and this isn't an attempt to brag. These are social proof. They're proof I've contributed to the field and I'm an authority to be listened to. I reference my Forbes contributions as well, and the things that I write on, once again solidifying my authority in the field. Finally, I close with an invitation. If you're a legal, risk, or insurance pro with a story you think I should cover, connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message. I bring technology stories to light that matter, and I want to hear from you. And there's your structure: problem, solution, proof, invitation, or call to action. We want them to respond. All right, layer 4 is your experience section, and this is where most experts default to resume mode. Here's the core principle. Your experience section should showcase outcomes in scope, not task lists. Let's look at the differences across 3 disciplines. Accident reconstruction, our weak approach. Responsibilities included conducting accident reconstruction, preparing reports, and testifying in court. What's wrong with this? It's a list of tasks. Any accident reconstructionist does these things. It doesn't communicate scope, specialization, or credibility in any way. A strong approach is Performed accident reconstruction analysis in 200 plus vehicle collision cases, including commercial truck accidents, pedestrian impacts, motorcycle crashes. Provided deposition and trial testimony in 40 plus cases across state and federal courts. Specialized in EDR analysis, sight distance studies, and speed determination. Do you see the difference? It's the specific numbers, specific types of cases, clear areas of specialization. An attorney reading this thinks, this person has done exactly what I need. All right, a couple more examples to solidify this. Digital Forensics Week conducted digital forensics investigations and data analysis for various clients. That can mean anything. Are you corporate security, criminal defense, civil litigation? There's no scope, no specificity. Strong Approach conducted digital forensics analysis in hundreds of cases involving cell phone evidence, data breach investigations, intellectual property disputes, and employment litigation. Testified as an expert witness in state and federal courts across the country. Specialized in mobile device forensics, cloud data analysis, and metadata examination. This tells the attorney case volume, case type, testimony experience, and technical specialization. It answers the question, can this person handle my case? All right, how about building sciences or construction defect? Provided forensic engineering services and prepared reports for litigation. No differentiation could describe any forensic engineer. Compared to a Strong Approach, led forensic structural investigations for 150 plus construction defect cases involving building envelope failures, water intrusion, and structural deficiencies in commercial and residential properties. Testified in 35 plus trials and depositions. Analysis cited in multiple published decisions involving settlements exceeding $2 million. Specific scope, specific types of issues, clear litigation experience, proof of impact. The final aspect we need to talk about is featured content and social proof. Social proof comes over time, and that is usually by getting recommendations from clients. One of the best ways to get recommendations is to give them if you can, and also being active on LinkedIn will increase the likelihood that someone will recommend you. That is a bit out of your hands. The other side of this, though, is featured content. That is also a good way to get recommendations by being very helpful in the community. But featured content is where you pin certain posts or articles or other content that you put in a certain section that will show at the top of your profile. This is a great way for clients to come find you online or see you or a comment, click through, and they're going to see that featured content. So what do you want to put there? Whatever you want to communicate most directly to that customer. For example, I would have my newsletter I would want them to click on, and I would also want them to see any relevant articles like why trucking defense attorneys fail at plaintiff's cell phone discovery and how to succeed. Pin the stuff you want them to see that could lead to potential engagement. That's what we're after in that section. All right, y'all, that LinkedIn profile, it isn't a resume, it's a positioning tool. This is your message to the world on how you can help, and so that people can find you so that you can help them in the first place. And when they do find you, what are they going to see? They're going to see how you can clearly solve their problems, that you've solved it for others like them in the past, and that you have the credentials to back it up.